welcome to the Daily Space Weather, folks. I be your host, smAsho. And we've got a lot of stuff to cover, so let's get into it. No screwing around. Happy spring, folks. Did you watch our live stream? It's available on both YouTube and BitChute. Companion video streamed live to Twitch, just like this one's being streamed live to Twitch right now. So if you're viewing live on Twitch, please leave a comment. We'll answer it if we can. Only 4 hours and 8 minutes into spring. What kind of plans do you have? Are you planning to increase your cycling mileage, plant a garden, leave coronavirus in the dust? So thanks again to our viewers. And again, we've been streaming these live to Twitch lately, so perhaps follow us there if you haven't. Did you watch our video from yesterday? The one which YouTube was kind enough to demonetize, entitled COVID-19. The disease caused by coronavirus, cured via hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin. Here's a clip. A recent well-controlled study conducted by Didier Raoult, MD, PhD, et al. In France has shown that 100% of patients that received a combination of hydroxychloroquine, I believe it is, and azithromycin tested negative and were virologically cured within 6 days of treatment. So if you haven't watched that one yet, go watch it on BitChute, because again, YouTube was kind enough to demonetize it, and we're seeing amazing success over there on BitChute. Thanks for everybody's support over there. Thanks, new subs, whether you're viewing on BitChute. Thanks, everybody. What a wild success over there at BitChute. Who would have thunk it? Anybody who doesn't like censorship and has real content. Next, we're looking at the local yellow dwarf here at 193 degrees, and we see a coronal hole in the Earth-facing zone a little north of the equator. It's kind of diffuse, as well as the South Pole coronal hole area looking very large, and it is indeed very in charge. Current sheet still South Pole oriented entirely, at least in the Earth zone. And we see an active region rising right near the equator, most likely a Cycle 24 plage. It was not a sunspot when I did show prep today, so we'll get to it by the end of the video. Again, are you viewing live or are you viewing Memorex? There is a reason why we stream live to Twitch, folks. It's because the platform is so good. Anyway, there's 304 angstroms, and this is a 48-hour video just like the last one. So little upticks there in solar activity. Is the world going to be destroyed by a meteor? Well, the short answer is no. And the longer answer is also no. And we've hit a roadblock here. HelioViewer is down. So let's just talk about the meteorite situation, meteor situation. These aren't going to become meteorites. Here's a bit of fear-mongering here. Turns out that 2020 EF is expected to get within a distance of 0.0421 astronomical units, or approximately 4 million miles, which is only 16.6 lunar distances. Yeah, so, I mean, this guy's talking about how these could cause atmospheric explosions. Please leave a comment, be stoic, and let us know, as you're the official smAsho meteor / geophysical effect researcher. So perhaps check this one out, and for you other viewers out there, if you're not aware, spaceweather.com has a section. Oh, check it out. We got some pink auroras. Spaceweather.com has a great section about all these objects. Just scroll down. You'll see this section, 2020 EF. I believe it's already reached its closest point. There'll be one closer than that today. It's 2020 FB2. Let's take a look at that one. It's 2020 FB2. And here's the plot. And I'll just hit play. Is it already playing? I don't know. I've hit stop. I don't know. I don't get it. Anyway, if you want to mess with that, it is all at spaceweather.com. The place I started studying the sun in depth back in about 2002. Next, we'll look at planetary locations. And there's where they'll be in a week. Please leave a comment if you're horrified about the fact that Venus, Earth, Mercury, and the Sun are making a rhombus. Please leave a comment if that makes you want to go, oh my God! We've got a planetary pileup going on once again, as we've got Jupiter and Mars and Saturn all rising in a very small area at dawn. So if you're up before dawn, check that out, especially if you've got a low horizon. Here's what that active region was doing at the moment of the equinox. And that's a 171 angstrom view that we downloaded from helioviewer.org while we were doing our live stream. We showed folks how to do it. And a 10.7 centimeter radio flux is, I believe, still at 72. Please correct me if I'm wrong there. I didn't have time to look it up. And I just wanted to show you the GOES X-ray flux from a 7-day perspective here, as we see some missing data coming in. But anyway, there's the GOES electron flux over 7 days, and you can see it's getting into lower lows and higher highs. So a larger range for that. Here's normally what we show, the 3-day, nothing resembling a B-class flare at all. And let's look at some transients. Now, these are the X-ray emissions from various known objects that have been, some of them have been tracked for decades. And if you want to know how to do that, just head to the Neil Gorell Swift Observatory, the Bat Hard X-ray monitor. Hit Control-F, depending on your browser. And first we're going to look at the galactic core Sagittarius A star. Just type in SGR space A and you'll find it. There are the transients from that, and as we've noted in a previous video, note how this is expanding. So we're seeing Sagittarius A star emitting more in all wavelengths. An interesting phenomenon, to say the least. Let's take a look at Crab, one of the most consistent X-ray sources. In fact, so consistent that it's used to calibrate telescopes. Here are the emissions from Crab pulsar, and we actually got a very dense burst right there in the past couple of days. Man, what an ugly arrow that was. Check out that burst from the Crab pulsar. The progenitor and illuminator of the Crab Nebula, the very famous Crab Nebula. Let's also take a look at, I don't know why the hell I just hit, I don't know why I hit pause. You can't pause a live stream. Let's also take a look at the Vela pulsar, which is kind of out in the same vicinity from our perspective in the galaxy. And there are the emissions from Vela, and check out the crazy transients that came out there. That was about 25 days ago. Interesting series of transients from Vela, perhaps warranting further study. Maybe we'll see a paper come out about that sometime soon. Let's look at an object over in the Cygnus arm. It's Cygnus X1, widely believed to be the first widely accepted, quote, black hole, and, quote, we'll just call it a massive radio source. There are the X-ray bursts, emissions from Cygnus X1. Now, this was famously bet on between Stephen Hawking and Carl Sagan, whether or not it's actually a black hole. I don't know if the bet was really whether or not black holes are a thing or not, but we'll just keep calling it a massive radio source. And this is in a pretty normal range here. Let's see. Here's the 1/10. And 1/10 is right here, so it's not doing anything too exciting over there. And let's take a look at Cygnus A, the most massive radio source in the entire sky, otherwise known as 3C405. And don't worry, folks, the shirts are going to come out. We just ran into some delays. And it has to do with funding. So if you want to see the shirts come out sooner, become a patron. All right, so there's 3C405, otherwise known as Cygnus A, massive radio galaxy, featured at the bottom of smAshomash.com/forum. If you want to see a radio image, just head there. Nothing too exciting happening there, as far as I can tell. And lastly, let's look at one more object, my personal favorite, Cygnus X3 massive X-ray binary, which is just coming out of a quiescent state. So here we see some significant outbursts from this once again. And these are approaching the highest outburst that we've ever seen, which happened back here around 2009. That's actually 2008, I believe. And so you can see, when it is in a quiescent state, it's way down here, and it was in this state just recently. Now it's back into more of a 0.03 level, so it's kind of right into its normal operating range now. If you don't know about Cygnus X3, head to smAsho.com/forums cosmology section, and there's an entire section just about that massive X-ray binary. One of the most likely point sources for cosmic rays known, and it's quite obvious that it is a point source, as its 4.8-hour periodicity is super obvious, even when measuring cosmic rays under 1,000 feet of granite. We won't get into the history, we'll just look at cosmic rays. First, the Opacity Neutron Monitor, there it is. And also the Barentsburg. By the way, Opatity's flat over the past 30 days, and Barentsburg is slightly downtrending over the past 30. Next, we'll look at Athens, assuming it's working. And congratulations on everybody who survived winter. And the germ environment of our planet. There's the Athens Neutron Monitor, and you can see that odd, anomalous looking precipitous down spike of minus 39% happening all of a sudden, almost as if maybe a magnetic spaceship flew over, folks, or maybe they turned on CERN. Just kidding, just kidding. Pardon my sarcasm and my dry humor. I can't help it. Bob Newhart called from beyond the grave and told me he wants his dryness back. Anyway, there's Mexico City's cosmic ray monitor, and it is looking flat over the past 30. Maybe even a slight downtrend. Next, Moscow. Here's Moscow's cosmic ray neutron monitor, and slight downtrend there over the past 30 days. Also, Moscow typically does show wilder swings. And lastly, Oulu, Finland. Stop. Don't touch me there. This is a cosmic ray square. Prevent rape. Follow cosmic rays. Actually, a very big burst there on the 16th. I don't remember seeing that before. Please leave a comment if you did. Oh, that was at 1600 hours. Yeah, so check it out. Yesterday at 1600 there was a big burst. And still not reaching the levels that we saw around 2009 and 2010. Thank goodness. Cosmic rays are kind of bad for your health, folks. They can cause cloud nucleation and make the planet colder, which if the planet got about 2 degrees colder, we would lose billions of people. A real concern. There's DOMC Antarctica. We'd show you DOMB, but it's not sending data. And we always link to the Network of Cosmic Rays Station site below the video so you can monitor them yourself. So click the links if you want to check them out yourself. Don't take our word for it. Do your own research. Next, looking at the real-time solar wind. Nothing too exciting going on there besides a few recent wild shifts in the phi angle, but those aren't really that wild as they were both oriented around the 0 and 360 degree line. Keep in mind, folks, that's just a measure of the orientation of the incoming protons. Solar wind density has ramped down to 3.7 protons per cubic centimeter, and the solar wind speed, 420! It's a 420 kilometer per second solar wind stream. And there's the latest data from ACE. Next we'll look at the geospace magnetosphere movies. It's looking pretty steady. And allow me to vanish and drink some coffee. So there's 4 hours of data. For you new viewers, this is based on the Space Weather Modeling Framework. If you want to read about it, just look up Geospace Magnetosphere Movies, scroll down to the bottom, click on the Details tab, and you can read all about the Space Weather Modeling Framework. There are a lot of variables that go into it. I have no idea how many, but it's a lot. and it includes everything from electron flux to Earth-based magnetometers, space-based magnetometers. Here are the ground geospace magnetic perturbations, changes in the Earth's B field. And we actually do see some magnetic perturbations there over the North Pole region and the South Pole region. Those came in around 7:15, 7:30 UT. That's universal time for you new viewers. It's also Greenwich Mean Time. And there's the GOES magnetometer. We're still missing one of the spacecraft there. I believe it's the GOES 15, not sending data. And we see a very sawtooth pattern. Typically, if the fields are more normal, you'll see a pattern like this. And these N's and M's are references to noontime and midnight time, local time for the satellite. So we've been seeing this going on for weeks and weeks. Spiky GOES magnetometer data. And here's a different view with different magnetometers. This is the top view ecliptic plane field plot as if you're looking down toward the sun's north pole. And stereo A out on your left, stereo B out on your right. That data 1 hour and 8 minutes old. Current sheet entirely South Pole oriented, shown in red. And no expectation to see that or the magnetometer spikiness change anytime soon. Here's the line of sight field plot showing the B field in blue. That's the sun's B field, the interplanetary magnetic field, and the one on which you live. Please leave a comment if you're viewing from space, a different time, a different universe, etc. And don't forget to press like and subscribe on YouTube, as our analytics are very important. Very, very, very important. Oh, they're just crucial. Oh my gosh. Next we see the electron flux rising, and we're saying, oh my God! I forecasted that too, by the way. And here's the GOES electrons, the GOES electron flux. This is the relativistic electrons from Solon.info. This is the GOES electron flux, and you can see that's finally coming up off the floor as anticipated. As the solar wind ramped down, electron flux ramped back up. And we won't get into the forecasting of that or the physics behind it because it's, shall we say, involved. And now that I've re-vanished, let's get involved in looking at the ionosphere. Here's 6 hours of data from that. And we see it charging up pretty heavy there, all the way up to 14 megahertz, it looks like. Otherwise, nothing too crazy happening there in the ionosphere. Here's the latest image. And it's looking pretty even there around the equator at 8:45 UT on today, the first full day of spring. And it was very close to exactly a full day of spring where I'm located, as spring fell like 10 minutes before midnight. So did you watch our videos from yesterday? There's a companion video. So we did an equinox stream. That's this one. And a companion video for the equinox stream, which shows the screen sharing. If you want to check those out, feel free. And please consider becoming a patron, as we've got a lot of things to do. And we'd like to ensure that these videos keep coming out and remaining public, and we need your support in order to do that. We don't want to put all the videos into private, unlisted mode, as we prefer to get the information to as many people as possible, as folks endeavor to understand the actual physics and the distinction between their you-know-what and a hole in the ground. We've also got a subscribe star. That's our latest foray into crowdfunding. Thanks anybody who's signed up there. We'll just ignore that article. I meant to weed that one out, folks, but that's still there. And the dangers of live streaming have come through again. We've moved on to a bit of a cosmology segment here. So let's get to that. We're going to be talking about the theory of everything real quick, as it's being investigated by the Chandra X-ray Observatory. So we've got a section in the forum. It's smashomash.com/forum. And this links to the first post that we put up about the theory of everything. It's a reference to the most basic theory of everything. Things like gravitational physics, quantum field theory, relativity, time dilation, all that sort of stuff. And we did a video with Eugene Bagashov about that. If you want to watch that one, you can link to that also from smashomash.com/forum. It's in the general science section. And we've put up another article. As Chandra's X-ray Observatory is probing string theory, searching for axions out there. So if you want to have a read, it's a SciTech Daily article. And let's get back to data, as that was a very short cosmology segment, and we're going to show you pressure maps here on Windy.com, who, by the way, has a lovely mobile app. So perhaps consider downloading that if you don't have it. It could save your bacon. Here's where things are now, and we're going to let this advance via the GFS forecast. As we enjoy the sounds of the Smash bunker. And we keep transmitting from the Smash bunker just because we like it. Not because we have to. We just figured we would, make sure everything was in order. Anyway, here's the last 24 hours of earthquakes. We see an earthquake in Texas. It's a 2.8 magnitude. And let's scroll up the list here, see what's going on. More aftershock strike in Utah, it looks like. And here's a very deep quake at Japan. It's 494 kilometers deep and a 4.0 magnitude. Just scrolling up the list. By the way, we're going to have a lot of volcanic updates here, as a ton of different things have hit the list when it comes to volcanoes. Please leave a comment if you notice an inverse correlation between volcanic activity and earthquakes. I noticed Mary said something about it, and I've been noticing the same thing for indeed over a year. I don't know if that's normal or not. I believe the largest quake of the past 24 might have been this 5.7 at China. And there's one at the Kermadec Islands, just north of New Zealand. It's a 5.4. And we're just scrolling up, noting anything weird. Please leave a comment if we missed something, as we don't want the video to be too long. It's the daily space weather. Have you heard about silver and gold prices? Well, gold is currently up 30 bucks an ounce, and silver is off of its lows now, up 77 cents, even higher than it was when I did show prep. It was down below $12 an ounce yesterday, and it's all because of that dude right there. See that dude? That's a little tiny microscopic organism. And I had an argument in 11th grade biology with the teacher about whether or not viruses should be considered a form of life. And I won't get into it here, but let's get into the COVID-19 section of the video. We've got a lot of information from it on smAsho.com's servers. As we don't engage in censorship, we prefer the free flow of information and the truth about how it's cured by some pretty basic drugs. And let's all say it together. Hydroxychloroquine, hydroxychloroquine, hydroxychloroquine. You can say it. Hydroxychloroquine, hydroxychloroquine. Or how about azithromycin? Can you say it? Azithromycin and hydroxychloroquine. We've linked the paper also at smAsho.com/forum. There's a over 13-page long repository of data here on our servers. And it's not just links, it's entire articles. If you want to read about the entire timeline, it goes all the way back to January 23rd. So check it out. Silver price is currently at $12.89. They even went up since I looked at it last. Let's just hit refresh just to see what happens. $12.89. Still looks undervalued to me. What say you? What say you about the way precious metals have been recently correlated to the stock market instead of inversely proportional to it? If you think that many margin calls needed to be filled by liquidating silver out of large institutional silver investors, I don't know what to tell you. That sounds like nonsense to me, and I don't believe it. Do you believe that China's locked in a hybrid war with the U.S.? Well, I'm not going to really weigh in on that, but here's an article about it by Pepe Escobar via the Asia Times. And this is totally unvetted, but There's some talk about some scary language among some high-ranking Chinese officials and the possibility that, well, I won't really get into it, but in any case, perhaps have a read. I'm not sure if we'll post this on smAshomash.com/forum or not. Let us know what you think. Do you think that coronavirus is some sort of form of warfare? Do you think it's a weapon? Or do you think it's just some sort of animal virus? Let us know in the comments. And let us know what you think about censorship in the comments. If you've never commented before, please let us know what you think about censorship, the way Facebook is trying to remove the truth from its servers. What about the way Google tries to do things like interfere with presidential elections and tries to steer your search results in a way that cause certain political candidates to get elected? And what about the way they ban people and deplatform people and shadow ban search results and manipulate your search results in all kinds of different ways depending on what country you're in? Why? Why is it that information itself is being pimped? That's Google! Facebook, Google, Twitter, and Apple. I'll say it again. You can't break the internet, but the internet can break you. How's your share price doing? COVID-19 total confirmed cases now up to 244,523. Total deaths just surpassed 10,000. Total recovered, 86,032. Here's the graph. And we're never going to know how many cases are really out there, folks. I'm still guessing that there are probably 1 billion, as who knows how many people present with 0 symptoms. The good news is the drugs that seem to cure coronavirus are already available at most drugstores around the world. They're cheap, they're already licensed by the FDA, and they're common, and they're about 60 years old. So let's get the volcano rundown here, as there's a bunch of stuff to cover. You know that Reykjanes volcano in Iceland? Well, it's doing stuff. It's been having its volcanic cone deformed, and there's uplift as well as a bunch of earthquakes occurring there. Klusovskoye exploding, 23,000 foot ash plume there. Mount Aso, flight level 6,000 there, and I apologize for the rumbling of the smAsho bunker. The location is a secret, and if we were doing our live stream from the underbelly of a C-130, we wouldn't tell you. If we were in the hollow deck of the Enterprise-D, we wouldn't tell you that either. Sakurajima also exploding, flight level 7,000 there. Manam exploding, flight level 10,000 there. Rupahu, located right in the middle of the North Island of New Zealand, has completely changed the formation of its crater lake. Now the lake is well mixed and has a uniform gray colored, and the continued flow of gases and hydrothermal fluids through the lake show the volcano's vent underlying the crater is open. So Rupahu could erupt, folks, and that could cause some, I'm not sure exactly how close populated areas are. I don't know that much about New Zealand geography. But let's just continue on. Mauna Loa also making the list, as it's been deforming its summit cone as well. So we see lots of high altitude earthquakes happening directly underneath the caldera of Mauna Loa, and this channel's been covering it for months. So more earthquakes there. Gas temperatures and fumarole temperatures and gas concentrations remain stable, but just the summit inflation could be the predecessor to an explosion. And Mauna Loa, by the way, is the world's largest active volcano. Shishildin in the Aleutian Islands also making the list, as it's showing lava flows and different types of ash emissions over the past 24. Simisopoichnoi, activity continues there. Great Sitkin showing earthquakes there, obviously magmatic related. Popocatépetl exploding, 20,000 foot plume there. Sangay exploding, 20,000 foot plume there. And Sabancaya, uptick at Sabancaya, Flight level now 30,000 there. Please do not attempt to do the Fosbury flop over Sabancaya. Could be unadvantageous. Next, we're looking at the jet stream and the extreme meridional jet stream flow to make us go, oh my God! There's the western jets, and they are all over the place, by the way, folks. Here are the eastern jets. Let me turn that a little bit more for our viewers from under. All over the place. And next we'll look at water vapor maps. Here is Europe and Africa. Here is the Far East and Oceania. Here's what's going on cloud cover-wise over the U.S. Yes, while it is dark out, we still know where the clouds are. The clouds cannot hide. Let's look at this area of sudden cloud nucleation over the Texas-New Mexico border. Sudden cloud nucleation happening there. And you can see some low-altitude cosmic ray flux-looking clouds as well. As you can see there are clearly two different, you see these, yeah, you can see two air masses there overlapping each other. And that has to do with creating big pressure gradients. And let's look at the water vapor map. Here's a water vapor map of that same region. And we'll, for your weather pornographic pleasure, we'll zoom in on that same area, I think. There it is. All right, I clicked on the right spot even though I couldn't see it. How do you like them apples? All right. Well, there's that same region, and you can see that there are two different air masses. You can see right here there's a temperature pressure inversion going on there as we have wet air on top of dry air, which dry air is more massive, so obviously there's going to be a temperature inversion there, and you should expect to see a lot of flight turbulence if you're flying around those areas. There's a little better view showing you a little more of the U.S. And let's just animate the full map here. Get the latest data before we close this thing out. Here's a U.S. Doppler radar map on the first day of spring. And plenty of snow falling across the north-central U.S. as well as the Rockies. It doesn't look super cold, though. And next, lightning maps. Checking out lightningmaps.org to let anybody who's got thunder rolling in know. Holy criminy, Fort Worth, Dallas area. There is one hell of a thunderstorm to your south. In fact, that's big enough that if you've got a good view, go look for sprites. Go look for sprites. That high altitude lightning that basically comes from space or connects to space or whatever, however you want to say it. Anyway, check out lightningmaps.org if you haven't when you hear thunder. It's real time. You could freak out your friends and freak out your foes, even freak out your neutrals. And thanks, Smash Team, for tuning in. We've got 3 bonus features. The standard intensitygram to look for sunspots and to cite the fact that there probably aren't any. And there's that active region. You can see no dark ombre there. Next, we'll look at the colorized magnetogram for that same region. Pardon my scrolling. The dangers of the live stream, folks. So it could be a sunspot. It doesn't look like a lot of magnetic mixing. If this area back here decides to turn into a sunspot, as well as this one, we could see some fireworks come out of that. Otherwise, it's looking pretty weak. And it is cycle 24 in polarity. So you can see the leading field here is South Pole oriented, indicating that it is a cycle 24 plage. And welcome to cycle 25, because we're seeing more activity based on cycle 25 than cycle 24. So it pretty much started exactly when we forecasted on this channel in something like August or September of 2019. Here's the final view. Don't freak out. Shelter in. Don't catch coronavirus, even if it is cured. Stare at the sun. Use the proper instruments. And since it'll never be now again, may that solar wind be at your back Welcome to the Neo-Renaissance. Click the links below the video. Support the channel. And may that solar wind be at your back.